This video is going to be long enough as I try to rush through and briefly explain on a very basic level each individual bottle and supplement. So before I do that and overwhelm you and leave you wondering how in the world I keep track of it all, I'd like to show you that first. So this is my new pill organizer. It keeps everything beautifully organized. It was about $15 on Amazon, and you can see that I can see right through it, see what I have, see what I need. These are just extra separators, and every morning I just wake up and take 1, 2, 3, whatever of each one that I need. I have a legend that tells me exactly what's in each one in case for some reason I forget or I'm not sure. But recently I lost my previous pill container and I've had to take everything out of the bottles, and it is very overwhelming to try to remember which ones you've taken, which ones you haven't, if there are any pill bottles missing, if maybe you've run out of one and there's one that you need to replace and maybe you're not getting that supplement, etc. So this is pretty vital for me. I can tell, like right now I'm out of flax. So this should be full of big, huge oil pills with my flax oil. And right now I'm currently out. I can tell that I need more methylcobalamin right here because it's almost empty. So I've got those coming in the mail, and soon this guy will be full and ready for helping me every morning. This makes taking my supplements at morning and at night far less overwhelming. It's a bead container, so it's made with a curved bottom, so you're not getting pills like stuck in a hard corner when you're trying to pull it out. And the dividers that move around allow me to have the bigger compartments or teeny tiny compartments for my littler pills. So this is a really ideal container, and it's how I keep everything organized. Here we go into individual supplements. You may or may not know that I was entirely dependent on finding the right supplements to be able to get myself to come back to life. I have a lot of health issues that throw me off balance, and I have spent the past year in a very devastating depression that just kept getting lower and lower. I sought a lot of medical help, and I tried to lean mostly towards holistic treatment, and I finally found some supplements that brought me back to life. So there are some that operate kind of on a subtle level for me, and then some that outright make or break my life, make or break my day, and I'm completely dependent on them to be able to function due to some of the things that I have found that I have going on. So before you proceed, of course, disclaimer, you have to talk to a medical professional, you have to research, you have to find out what works for you. I've definitely taken things that were supposed to help me and made me very sick. Everybody can have different opinions, different doctors will say different things. I've had one doctor I really trust prescribe me things that felt significant to me, and then another doctor later I really trust who looked at it, looked at the ingredients and said, this is bullshit, it doesn't do anything for you, don't waste your money. So it's always a very interesting journey when you get into supplements, and I have a massive box of things. I usually have it all organized into a bead container, actually, so that every morning I just take 1 or 2 of one in every compartment. I would like to walk you through what I take because, number one, I'd like you to know how important some things are and how just, background helpful other things are. And I'd like you to see how much it impacted my journey, because you can beat yourself up, you can have willpower, you can have done it before, you can see doctors who tell you that you're fine, you can have family who is frustrated with you, you can have time limits, you can have goals, you can have all the motivation in the entire world, but if you don't have what you need to function at the core chemistry level for your brain and your body, you're not going to go very far. So you have to make sure that you're functioning at a level that all of those things that are trying to get you to move forward actually have some potential to succeed, because I've had all of those things and I literally just laid in bed and played video games and tried to enjoy the life that I was not going to be making anytime soon into something better for quite a while recently. Once I got my brain chemistry figured out and I found my miracle cure in a dumb little bottle, it all came back. So I will tell you about that, and I will tell you about all the other things that I've learned really do help me. A lot of very intricate blood tests have gone into figuring out some of these, so I'll let you know which ones those are. And don't take something just because that I say that it helps me. Take time to research and to ask for tests from your doctor to find out if that actually might be what's going on with you, find out and approach supplements with caution. And I'll tell you a story about when I almost killed myself with one of my favorite supplements. So they can be a little dangerous, so pay attention. I've had someone recently express that they're not prescription medications, they're just supplements, and in this very disrespecting way that it didn't really matter at all because it wasn't a prescription. I have literally completely depended my life on these supplements, far more than some people depend on their prescribed drugs. My whole life will fall apart if I don't get certain ones. So it's not a joke. It's not something simple. Like I said, I've almost killed myself from overdosing on one of them without realizing it. So pay attention, go slowly, and don't take it too casually. Feel free to message me, comment, ask questions. You can find me on Facebook. My name is Carissa Cassiel. I think I might be the only one. Just find me and ask questions. My husband is very good at research, and we can definitely help you investigate and find supplements that might be helpful to you, for you to speak to a physician, get blood tests, and find out what your right answers are. Let's start out slowly with basics. I take a multivitamin. The one that my doctor prescribed for me and that I've actually liked is called Alive. This one, I feel good about the contents of it, and I take 2 to 3 of these a day, depending on what I'm going through. If I get sick or something, I might take that 3 times a day because it will help me get nutrition and throughout the day that I might be missing from the food that I'm not eating. The next would be flax oil. I made the mistake of ordering this online and it doesn't smell so great. So it needs to be kept refrigerated. If you're buying it somewhere for super cheap, if they're not shipping it refrigerated, it's probably gone foul. So oil will go foul, and it's not delicious and it's not as good for you. Next time I'm only gonna buy ones that I know are refrigerated. Potassium. So this is a basic electrolyte, and when I had blood work done, I actually had some flags show up that my doctor interpreted, telling me that it actually was showing that my kidneys were overactive, which I have Googled, and there is nothing talking about overactive kidneys as being a bad thing or anything like that, but my potassium levels were very low. And he said, again, that's why I drink a lot of water, and my kidneys are just constantly filtering out things, so I tend to need electrolytes more often. If you don't know much about electrolytes, they are absolutely mandatory for function. They are exchanged between cells to allow your heart to pump, for just a very basic place to start. And if you were to say fast and only drink water, you would very quickly begin to filter out electrolytes as normal and not replace them. And without replacing those, they can become very imbalanced and you could have a heart attack. So you absolutely need to keep your electrolytes balanced. And I crave salt, which probably comes from my kidneys filtering out sodium and chloride. And I need to take potassium. So this helps me make sure that I have the right electrolyte balance in my diet. Next, I take zinc. I have a copper IUD, and it's not so bad as far as metals go to have it in your system, but you do need to have enough zinc for your body to be able to handle it. So I take zinc on a daily basis. I have had problems with making enough red blood cells, and I've been told that I need iron supplements. This is what a doctor I really trust and friends that I really trust recommend. It's called Ferrazorb, and it has iron in it, but it has all the things that your body needs to be able to absorb the iron. So if you are just taking a flat iron supplement, definitely look into different products that are called blood builders, or into something like this from Thorne called Ferrazorb, because this will actually do what you're trying to do with the iron supplements, where iron supplements alone can actually make you really sick, so be careful. Next is glycine. I drink bone broth, so I do get a decent amount of glycine in my diet, but I also supplement it a little bit. This will also help me get rid of some of the heavy metals. I've been diagnosed with heavy metals in my system. So glycine helps me very slowly eliminate those, and it keeps my protein building resources balanced. Recently, I finally got the right data to find out what was wrong with my gut. I figured out without data that I probably had what they call SIBO, small bacterial intestinal overgrowth, which essentially means that the bacteria that's in your large intestine has just taken over and is all living all over, and your small intestine is overgrown with the large intestinal bacteria. So bacteria are kind of like gangs. You can't really just have someplace completely full of a gang and just introduce a couple of guys to try to come in. They're going to get shot up and killed. So you have to actually, suppress this gang and bring in enough of a gang to be able to rival so that they can share territory. You need a lot of different cultures, a lot of different bacteria in your gut. And with the CVID, which is common variable immunodeficiency that I have, which is essentially AIDS, it's just not contracted from someone else. I just don't have an immune system. I've had a lot of bad bacteria that have taken over, and I've had a lot of good bacteria that have taken over other good bacteria. So it turned out that I was missing all of the small intestinal bacteria because all the large intestinal bacteria went in and took over my small intestine. So that's been part of making me very sick. When I was prescribed probiotics, it would just make me sicker because, again, if you have one gang, let's say, the red gang who is living there, and you try to introduce some of the blue gang. If you're introducing red gang and blue gang at the same time, and mostly red gang, those blue guys aren't going to be able to survive. So what I've had to do is take supplements that essentially kill off and suppress the gang that's in there, and then I've had to take probiotics that are specifically geared towards the bacteria that I need to bring just more of the blue guys in than the red. It turns out that those probiotics are marketed towards women's health. So I was missing really crucial bacteria that is vital for protecting my feminine systems. And I was having a lot of problems with yeast, but when I would treat the yeast, it didn't really help. So what I found out is I actually need this specific probiotic strains called lactobacteria. That is lactobacillus, which you've probably heard of, and lots of other lactobacteria. And those are the ones that I don't have. And if I took a regular probiotic, it would give me some of those, but it would give me some of the bacteria that I'm overgrown with. So it was never able to actually move in and take up shop. It would just make me sick because it was giving me more of the stuff I have too much of. So now I have in my refrigerator vaginal health probiotics and women 50 and wiser. That's how I treat myself with probiotics, and that's the first time that I've been able to do so in my entire life without getting sick. So what I've had to do is take different supplements, and these I don't recommend taking without a doctor, a stool sample, all of that telling you. My stool sample showed me what bacteria I had a problem with, and then in the lab they treated with these things, and these were the ones out of all of the supplement, all of the antibiotics, these were the supplements that did the best actually suppressing and killing off that bacteria. Not awesome, but the best. And I wanted to go supplement way instead of antibiotics, so it would kill everything. So I've been taking black walnut, which my doctor tells me to take 3 weeks on, 1 week off. It's not something that you just want to take indefinitely. And then Tanalbit, which I don't actually know much about, but I do know that it was for killing off that bacteria in my gut. And I do know that the bacteria, particularly in my gut, is susceptible to Tanalbit. The other thing is my doctor wants me on yeast cleanse all the time. Again, with my immune system, even if I were to get this all figured out and balanced, my immune system may not be able to actually support it and keep it in check. So he wants me to kind of unlimitedly down the line for now, always be supporting it with things like this guy to balance out the yeast in my system. Colloidal silver is something that I've discovered quite recently. I use 30 parts per million, and I frequently have kind of sore throats that come with this really bad taste in my mouth, and I think that it's a bacterial infection, or it could be viral, but I can tell by like the taste in my mouth. So this actually just, I can brush my teeth, I can rinse with water, and that flavor doesn't really go away, but this will actually clear the flavor in my mouth to just taste clean and clear like water. And I do very solidly believe it's because it's killing off the bacteria. That's actually what I'm tasting. So I really, really like this, and it's helped me a lot with sore throats that don't go away for me because, again, my immune system is not really doing what it's supposed to be doing for me. Now I'll get into more of the life-changing supplements for us. I got onto St. John's for a period of time, and I felt like it was kind of helping, but never really felt all that different, and I never really felt all that dependent on it. Aiden, on the other hand, lives and breathes by St. John's. Frequently midday, he'll just be feeling really weird and off, and he'll realize he forgot to take his midday dose. So St. John's is a really good antidepressant. It's pretty ideal for mild to moderate depression or moderate to severe because it seems to work differently for different people. I tried it and it really didn't touch me. And I got off of it abruptly, and I didn't feel any sort of issue from getting off of it abruptly. I don't think it was really hitting any marks for me. Aiden, however, goes through serious withdrawal. He definitely gets benefits from taking it. The other thing that we've tried and taken, and this is from Serotropics, which is a nootropic website company that makes just amazing products. You don't need a prescription or anything. You can just buy them from their site. This is actually sort of an antidepressant. It has an opiate effect, and it definitely smooths things out and makes me feel better. But now that I'm on the supplements that I'm on that kind of interact or change my reception to this, I no longer take or need tianeptine. And Aiden's had some really good success with this, but he will go off of it and on it. And recently he's tried to get back on it, and it just wasn't working with the combination of supplements he's currently taking. So it's always going to ebb and flow and change, and you just have to pay close attention, do research, know how things interact. A long time ago, about 5 or 6 years ago, I met a doctor. He was actually a doctor of chiropractic, but he had gone to an insane amount of schools and seminars and all sorts of things, and he's an incredibly brilliant man. He's up in California, so I don't get to see him anymore. But he helped me with some supplements that really balanced me out, changed my entire life. And Glutothione Recycler is one of the supplements that helped me the most, and I have been on for 5 or 6 years. Glutothione Recycler helps me with stress. I get very overwhelmed when I get off of it, or I reduce my dose down too much. And this is the supplement that I was talking about that I almost killed myself with, because it helps me so much. And I learned that times that I felt really overstressed by something really stressful going on, that I would take a little bit more. And when I recently went, about a year and a half ago, went back to California with my husband, and we were going to build a life together, and I was a very active, high-paid nanny. I knew I would be in very stressful situations with moving a new relationship and high-paid nannying, and I started making sure that I was taking a maximum dose for me, my maximum dose, 3 to 4 times a day, because I could tell in high stress situations when it was getting out of my system about 4 hours after I had taken it. So I made sure it was constantly in my system, and I was so afraid that if I started to forget, I would start to not be able to cope with the stress. So I made sure that I consistently took as much as I felt like I needed. And I think that that was okay for a period of time while it was building up, but it has as one of the main ingredients selenium, and selenium can actually kill you. You can overdose and you can die from selenium poisoning. You can also keep yourself in a state of distress, a lot of distress and kind of psychosis, by taking not quite a lethal dose, but a lot of it all day, every day. So I was taking the supplement that my physician had told me to take. I was taking the amount per dose that he and I had decided on was right for me, but I was the one increasing my dose, and I didn't speak to him about that. And I did end up getting myself very, very sick. And it wasn't until I was about a month in of crazy, crazy breakdowns and violence, and I broke my hand. Out of like a just random violent outburst, I went to slam my head against a wall. I panicked inside of myself, knowing I didn't want to hurt my head. I put my hand on the way and I broke my hand with my skull. So my life got really out of control really fast, and I was terrified. And about a month in, I suddenly had just a curiosity, I think I was talking to my mom and she was talking about the selenium in it, and I did go ahead and research selenium and found out that I was in fact taking a very toxic dose, and I had been for a while, and that was probably pretty strongly correlated to what was going very wrong in my brain. So that was part of what set off this whole year of just dipping down into the worst depression of my entire life. My go-to favorite supplement. Life is a journey. So now I know not to take so much of it. I know that sometimes if I've gotten off of it, or I'm going to go through a lot of stress, that I might want to build up a little bit of a buffer of a little bit more selenium, but then I need to taper back down to a normal, regular person dose that, you know, a normal person would be comfortable with, and that I should avoid taking crazy person amount. I learned that lesson. Learn from me. Don't kill yourself with supplements. So, on our own, and actually through a really good friend online, we got into memantine. So thank you to Josh, who decided to compromise his own health and sanity to send us some, because he felt like we needed it as much, if not more, than he did. And he sent us some, and we were able to go ahead and try it, and found that it was actually really, really, really helpful. So thank you, Josh, for changing our lives. We started ordering it on Serotropics, and it's called memantine. And this is actually an antidepressant, but it's not patented and regulated in the United States. You can just buy it as a solution from Serotropics. I would have to let Aiden explain to you exactly how it works, but it works really well for people suffering from Alzheimer's. It helps a lot to reverse the damage that stress does to a human brain, and to allow you to function the way that you're supposed to inside of your brain chemistry. So for me, it helped me cope with my emotions in real time, instead of having huge reactionary emotions that made me into somebody that I didn't want to be, and then I'd have to calm down and process and apologize and then see the other person's side and all of that. The more that I got, slowly got, up to my dose on memantine, the more that I got into the memantine helping me, the more that I was able to do those things in real time. So it's been absolutely life-altering for me, and Aiden's taking it, and he's only taking like 1/20th of a dose, and that's about right for him. But I've seen a difference in him, and I feel a dramatic, just life-altering difference in me. I care a hell of a lot about how I interact with people that I care about, and reacting angrily and emotionally and shutting people out and doing damage was something that has tortured me my entire life, that I do that. And this has been the literal only thing that has made a just massive difference. I am a completely different person. I can calmly handle emotional interactions and things that used to trigger me and make me very upset. I can handle those in real time and care about the people that I care about. And I'm not perfect, but I'm also better being okay with that. So memantine has been a lifesaver for me. Again, thank you, Josh. I cannot tell you how much this supplement helps me. I have faith that I will actually be able to be the partner that I want to be, that I would one day be able to be the mother that I want to be, because I've told myself virtually all of my adult life that I don't get to have children because I will never do to them what I do to other people, and what my mother did to me when she was upset and all of that. I can't cope with that idea, and I know so many mothers deal with that feeling, and that's a huge drive for me to be on here helping everybody, as I know how many mothers out there are watching me and learning from me, and I'm reaching out to and helping individually, and it's a massive, massive priority in my life to help myself and help others improve that relationship between an emotional, struggling mother and a child who needs her. So definitely do some research, definitely look into it. Serotropics is the site that we get it. And if you are interested in it and you want to talk to me about it, I could do a whole video on memantine and my recommendations for how to get on it and what you're going to experience, etc. But this video is long enough. Memantine helped me come back to controlling my emotions, but it did not bring my spark back. I still was depressed. I still didn't want to shower. I still didn't have any energy. I was on the St. John's wort for depression, and again, I wasn't really feeling anything. I was on the tianeptine, and that felt like it was helping. I could feel when it would wear off, and I wanted more. It helped me with all sorts of issues that I have that I know I'm kind of dependent on an opiate response, which I've read a lot about that being kind of a genetic thing that can happen. So at the beginning of September, I had done a urine sample for just this whole hormonal rundown of my brain chemistry. And on November 2nd, I went in to do a heavy metals treatment, and I got the results back from my brain chemistry panel from my urine. So that told me something very interesting, which is that I had very, very low norepinephrine and virtually no epinephrine. So I'm sure you've heard of epinephrine before. It's adrenaline. It's the thing that actually keeps you moving and keeps you functioning, gets you up in the morning, helps you respond to something startling. You know, it does a lot. And if you don't have any, you function like I did. You just don't get up and you don't function, and you can't be happy, and you can't balance your blood sugar, and you can't really function at all. So when he saw these test results, he said, number one, he had never seen anybody with an epinephrine that low before, ever, in his 30, 40 years of doing tests like this, and that he felt that that was very startling. But he told me to try SAMe. So SAMe is something that we hear a lot in conjunction with St. John's wort, that you don't take them at the same time, but St. John's wort is probably more preferable for mild to moderate depression, whereas SAMe is more preferable for moderate to severe depression. I think that probably has something to do with people who have very, very, very low epinephrine, have very little will to live. So that's what I was going through, and on the way home from that doctor's appointment, I purchased a bottle of SAMe. He specifically recommends SAMe with coenzyme B. SAMe will utilize B vitamins, and it provides a methyl donor for norepinephrine to turn into epinephrine. So it allowed my body to start making its own epinephrine again. I take this in conjunction with extra methylcobalamin B12, which is a bioavailable form of B12, and this in particular has B vitamins in it, and this is a new thing that they started producing just at the time that I was prescribed it. So on the car trip home, I picked it up and I tried it, and I came back to life. Literally upon taking it, I came back to life, and I didn't necessarily trust that. I thought that surely it would fade away and it was a placebo or something along those lines, and I literally finally got married within a few days. I started a business. I started a YouTube channel. I have produced 33 videos on YouTube, and I feel like myself again. So it was not a placebo. I absolutely needed what this little bottle provides, and this is one that I've just fallen off of recently in the drama that I went through where my pills were gone, and I spent a couple days in bed because I can't function without it. So I've been through a whole hell of a lot, and I've found things that help me and support my blood and support my body and support my brain, and I would never, ever be able to be the person that I know I am, and I've always wanted to be, and I felt like I was connecting to, and then I've had it just ripped out from underneath of me and crash landed on the floor. I've had all of that stuff going on, and I've not been able to jumpstart. I've not been able to get started and feel like myself for so long. And if I had not discovered the SAMe, I probably would not be here making a YouTube video for you. I would not be the person online helping. I would not be losing weight. I would not be feeling better. I would not be getting healthier. I wouldn't be doing any of those things. I would still be playing video games and trying not to hate myself, because that's all I had. Without the proper systems functioning in you, if that's going on for you, this is one reason why you have to love yourself wherever you're at, because you're doing your best. And if you had it in you to get up and do better, if you had it in you to sit calmly and play with your children with more attention, you would do it. It's important to you, and it's who you are, and it's what you want. And if there's something that you don't have in order to function correctly and be yourself, beating yourself up for that and hating yourself and pushing yourself and invoking willpower and doing all of that is only going to get you so far, and you're going to end up back where you started or worse. More depression, more defeat, more fear of ever trying because it all falls apart. So get answers that you need, get the help that you need, get the supplements that you need, get the drugs that you need, get the things that you need to support your journey and the things that you're trying to accomplish. And love yourself and have compassion for yourself where you're at, because I know for a fact, whoever the hell you are right now, you are doing your best. You're watching this video because you have desires and drive and things that you care about. And if you could reach them, you would. So keep trying, keep reaching, keep finding new ways to boost yourself up so you can get a little closer. Keep loving yourself for trying and for caring so much and for being that person that you're reaching towards, the person who's reaching towards the person that you want to be. Appreciate yourself for all of that. You are fighting a battle that is very, very difficult. So have a lot of compassion and patience for yourself, and know that you're going to keep finding more answers, and it's going to keep getting better, because it will. You're going to keep looking and you're going to keep reaching. And sometimes you're going to need to stop and massage your shoulder and your arm a little bit from all that reaching. And that's okay too, because as soon as you can, you will be reaching again, because that is what we do. And I promise you that no matter how far you get, and no matter what you manage to grab out there, reaching so far and you manage to finally grab it, you're going to actually see something out there that's, I want that. And you're going to be reaching again. So enjoy reaching, and enjoy being the kind of person who can reach and find things, but support yourself so that you don't fall and end up so far back there that the things you'd reached before are out of your reach. Go slowly and love yourself. You got this.